Good afternoon, everyone. Reporting to you virtually from Bonn, I'm Nicholas Peterson, and this is WHU Inside Business. Today, I'm joined remotely by Sascha Firtina, reporting from Berlin. Sascha founded his first company at the age of 17 in the area of event planning. It was not long soon after until he founded his second company, supporting FMCG companies with product placements at events across Germany. In 2013, he started studying at WHU, and a year later founded Kinji Incorporated in my home state of California, a company that has designed the first airbag to be deployed in water. In 2016, Sascha sold his first two companies and left Kinji. He joined Bertelsmann as the executive assistant of a board member and took his first steps into the media landscape, of which we'll be discussing today. In 2017, he met his current co-founder, Maren, and they started Cuomo the following year. Now, first of all, Sascha, welcome virtually to our virtual studio. How's everything going?
Great to be here. It's going fairly good, I would say. The situation has been better in Berlin, but I'm coping with it. So looking ahead.
Yeah, if for those of you watching, we just announced that the partial lockdown will be happening in Germany again starting next week. So I guess this is definitely an ongoing thing, and the second wave has definitely come. Now, before we start, could you just give us a little introduction to what is Cuomo and what do you guys do?
Sure, definitely. So we started Cuomo in 2018, so it's been roughly 3 years, and exciting years. And we started at the time where we noticed social media is such a big thing and everyone wanted to collaborate with influencers. However, no one really had an idea of how to collaborate with them. And once they started, they just followed their gut feeling by selecting these influencers and also by evaluating whether it's been worth it or not. And we always wondered why nobody's using the data which is available for this space, and started developing the algorithms to really put away the gut feeling and follow the data-driven approach. So to give an example, we looked at a brand like Nike, and they have 90 million followers on the largest profile. And we simply didn't understand, why don't they look first at these 90 million people that are already following the brand, or the 10 million people that engage with the brand every day by liking and commenting? So we started developing the algorithms to identify these people that are already engaging with brands or that are engaging with the ecosystems of these brands. And yes, we're identifying these consumers and influencers. We're collaborating with them for brands, either short-term campaigns or long-term communities. And we support them in the end with tracking all this and optimizing over time. And that just not by hand, but with data and a tech-driven approach. So we have tools for the varying processes, which make it fairly efficient and attractive to our partners.
On that same topic, so you started the company in 2018. The pandemic hit in just this year in March, or technically in December, but the lockdowns really started to affect the economy in March. Now, what are the most striking differences that you've noticed in social media behavior before and then now after the pandemic?
So yeah, when the pandemic hit March of this year, I remember it fairly well. It was the 18th of March when Merkel was given his speech, the German Chancellor, about the situation and that it's real and happening. And at that time, things changed. So maybe first level for us as a company, because brands started stopped investing their money and simply put everything on hold until they had a further understanding of where the situation would develop to. And obviously, for us as a young company, this was fairly difficult as well. And the main reason why brands stopped their marketing activities was that they said, well, first of all, anyone, or like all these people are now going to talk only about Corona. No one has free mind for any mind capacity for advertisements. And secondly, in a time where people fear their lives, in a way, we do not want to be the brand that does advertisements and is not looking after them and therefore gets a shitstorm. So brands were really careful at that time, stopping their marketing activities, and obviously we as a partner in these marketing teams noticed that firsthand.
Got it. And so when do you think that will start to kind of return back to normal, I guess? Because of course, everyone is getting tired of these lockdowns. Everyone, of course, is very, very sorry that this pandemic is wreaking havoc on people's lives, people's families. But of course, the social media world cannot be gone forever like this. When do you think it will return back to normal?
That's really depending on the respective brand. So for I'd say most of the brands, it already has returned back to a normal level. Or for some brands, the past month have even been acceleration. So if you look at the producers of toilet papers, I mean, they had a blast. So in Germany, it's basically the market, right? So and the same goes for like cleaning stuff. So we're collaborating with retail brands or with brands that are in the laundry space, and all these branches really profited strongly from this Corona time. And also, like, for example, pets food, they've benefited strongly. So they've even increased their marketing activities. But at the same time, we have brands that are strongly retail focused that had to close their stores. And these brands, of course, have been heavily affected by Corona and had sales decreases, and thus have limited their marketing spends. So it's really a question of the respective market the brand is in and the brand itself. For us, luckily, as Cuomo, we're in the middle of that. We have brands that have lost in that time. We are collaborating with brands that have benefited from this times, and so we had, the opportunity to accompany both.
So you guys deal with a lot of influencer marketing as well. How the trends have changed with Corona regarding these prominent influencers that the millennials and Gen Z are very avid followers of?
I wouldn't say it has changed too much. These influencers play a crucial role in the life of these Gen Z people and millennials, and it probably has even increased due to Corona, as they are not spending as much time with their friends as usually and spending more time on the phone or at home. So these virtual worlds have even increased in their importance for these young audiences.
Got it. And the way that they're interacting with their audiences now, I mean, I remember the campaign, stay at home, hashtag stay at home, was really big with all actors, movie stars, musicians. So really getting people, these influencers to help actually stop the pandemic. Is this something that you're seeing influencing its way, no pun intended, into, the marketing and the advertising of the brands you're working with?
Yeah. The example you chose is actually really interesting. It was a campaign generated or created by the Ministry of Health in Germany. And by incident, they have basically done the largest influence activation Germany has seen in a while. They started collaborating with the German actors and macro influencers that picked up the hashtag Wir bleiben zu Hause, so staying home. And it became a viral campaign all over Germany, with the hashtag being used more than 300,000 times just on only a couple of days at the beginning of March, right after Chancellor Angela Merkel gave her speech on TV. So that was a really interesting example of how macro influencers, social media also supported the change and the measures being taken by politics, so that the society as a whole can maybe adapt their way of thinking or at least be aware of the new measures.
Interesting. And going back to, the point you said earlier about some brands really benefiting, like toilet paper, and then some brands really getting hit hard. How are the brands that are really getting hit hard, using social media and using influencer value to increase their ability to make revenue?
I've seen examples of brands that have now a strong focus on e-commerce and also using influencers as one channel to get traffic and consumers on their shop. But I've also seen various brands that are strongly struggling with this new situation and haven't embraced yet this new reality where they need to shift towards an e-commerce business back or away from their offline businesses. So I would say all of them a huge challenge.
Yeah, and I see. Yeah, it's very clear that definitely Cuomo could be helping some of these companies that haven't made it a significant online presence now, which is crucial in times of COVID. And that leads me to my next question. What do you think we'll see change in 2021? with regard to social media, influencer marketing, and just the economy as a whole, from your perspective?
Really interesting question. I wish I would knew. Obviously, we are facing now the second wave and lockdown in Germany, and it's going to have a huge impact on the economy and obviously also on the behavior on social media and how consumers purchase over the upcoming month and maybe even years. So overall, I'm very confident that this process we are in is accelerating, like all digital channels. So digital shops to purchase and also digital channels to inform yourself or be aware of certain topics. So the importance of social media will increase. There might be other platforms coming up or increasing their importance, such as TikTok even further. And I think that's a trend which we're going to see over the next couple of months and years.
And now, speaking of TikTok, how important is TikTok? And how much power do they really have currently, and how much power do you think they will maintain looking forward?
Yeah. So they're gaining in power, I would say. And are they important? Well, depends on who you are and who you want to reach. Platforms, social media platforms go through different cycles when they're being new and rising stars. And TikTok is still in a stage where it's fairly easy to get a ton of organic traffic at a fairly fair price point. And that's an opportunity which especially young brands can embrace. So we remember these early days when there were Instagram startups such as Foodspring or whatever that started selling their products through influencers on Instagram, which was a still very young platform back then, and embraced this trend early on to really benefit from it. And I see several like similar opportunities like this on TikTok, where brands, especially young brands, can embrace this huge organic traffic. But we also saw already large corporates capturing this trends and traffic on this platform, so that it bears quite some opportunities. It's really a question of which target group the respective brands are addressing.
I see. And with TikTok pointing more towards the target group of younger folks, Gen Z, as we mentioned earlier, and but because TikTok is a huge topic, especially in the US right now. But I think people underestimated it, and like you said, especially corporates are now getting on the bandwagon. And to kind of wrap it up here, I guess in a general scheme of things, how will these changes in social media behavior that we've seen throughout the pandemic affect other industries and outside of social media? And what will be the of the pandemic, do you think?
Well, very broad question. The one industry which came to my mind right away was the event and like party scene, as it's obviously strongly impacted by the measures being taken in Germany, and all these younger folks need another way to connect with their peers, and that's only one reason why the app House Party went viral again in March of this year, and people started connecting online doing their virtual house party. So that's definitely one industry which is being captured by the digital channels now, or simply being shifted to the digital channels, because it's the only opportunity these young people or all of us currently have, and that definitely have a lasting impact, in my opinion.
Do you think once there is a vaccine, hopefully as soon as possible, that these will just be blips, in the timeline of these social media companies' lives? Like, for example, House Party. I mean, will anyone be on House Party? Of course, they might have a subtle, user base, but how do you think that shifts will go back to normal once COVID is done? Or will we actually see the whole landscape shifted like very permanently?
It's depending on the respective topic. So one example of where I'm quite sure that it will stay is the topic of home office. So many, especially large corporates, didn't allow their employees to work from home. Now they simply didn't have any other opportunity, or and there was no other way than working from home. And they saw that there's a way to it, and it's basically become the new normal, and it won't go away again. Even if people will start working from the offices again, there will most likely almost everywhere still be the opportunity for home office. For an app like House Party, etc., yeah, they definitely are experiencing the moment of their life right now, and it will decrease again with offline opportunities arising, hopefully in the near future, still being more important and staying more important over time.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I hope this pandemic does end as soon as possible, and it'll be interesting to see how it does play out. But I think many of your points very valid. That like home office, we have a lot of things that will stay with us afterwards. Well, Sascha, I want to thank you for joining me today for our quick discussion about social media and the pandemic. Really appreciate you coming on. And for all of our viewers out there, thank you very much for watching. And from all of us here at WHU Inside Business, we'll see you next time.